Hey guys, I'm here with my good friend and mentor, Dr. Sinead Dufour. She is a PhD, she is a mama of twins, she is a pelvic health physical therapist, and she is a professor at McMaster University and a researcher in all things pelvic health. So we polled the audience and a lot of people wanted to know exercises to help with prolapse. So there's evidence to support what Dr. Sinead is about to show us, and I'm going to demonstrate. So here we go.
Okay. So we do all know that pelvic floor muscle training or exercising the pelvic floor is great for prolapse. Great. But people want sort of other options and other solutions and things that are a little bit more fun and interesting. So I am going to be having Nikki demonstrate one of Bruce Crawford's exercises from his pelvic floor Pilates program. Dr. Bruce Crawford is actually a urogynecologist in California. And he got so sick of doing prolapse surgery that he actually kind of committed himself to trying to figure out, if prolapse is really kind of more of a fitness issue, which is what he kind of came to think of it as, then how do we engage the musculoskeletal system to correct it and to avoid having all these issues with prolapse? So he tested 218 different exercises to figure out which are the ones that seem to actually work best to engage the pelvic floor, to relift those pelvic organs kind of in a synergistic fashion. And this exercise is one of them. So you're going to recognize parts of it looks like a bridge, but one of the key pieces, and the reason why the bridge works so well is because we're activating the glutes together with the pelvic floor. So that in itself is a synergistic, powerful effect anytime we get glute activation with the pelvic floor. But there's an aspect on here which is referred to, oh sorry buddy, which is referred to as plyometrics. Getting that fast acceleration of force and activity into the pelvic floor actually through a pelvic thrust. And so we see that this dynamic piece onto a more traditional bridge is really where the magic happens. Okay, so we're going to have Nikki go through this. All right, Nikki.
So I've never done this before,
yes.
So you know.
So Nikki is very well versed in terms of coordinating her pelvic floor with the movement. So she's going to kind of naturally understand the part of the exercise where it's to connect your pelvic floor and then come up into bridge. So Nikki, I'm going to have you do that. I'm going to have you do that kind of repeatedly a few times. So she's connecting, she's coming up to bridge, she's going to inhale, come all the way back down, because we do sort of a few repetitions first, right? We're turning the floor on and off, we're getting glutes on and off. Then she's going to come up, and now she's going to hold it. So she's holding her pelvic floor, she is not holding her breath. So we're now doing a bit of an endurance activity for the pelvic floor and the deep core system, right? But she's not holding our breath. So we're now dissociating the diaphragm from the pelvic floor, which is also important training. And then we're going to add on the plyometrics. So in a moment, she's going to go through and she's going to try to do this at least 6 times, where she's going to kind of drop her pelvis and then really accelerate and pop it back up. I often call this Elvis pelvis. It's literally like a thigh thrust.
I love it.
So Nikki, when you're ready, you're going to Elvis pelvis. You're going to drop and pop, drop and pop.
Halfway.
Yeah, so you're just going to drop halfway and then pop. Yeah, drop halfway, pop. Yeah, drop halfway, pop. Perfect. So you're going to keep doing that 3 more.
Booty, pelvic floor.
Yeah.
So I'm kegling each time I do this.
Good.
Right?
Yeah. And come on back down. So that is a great clarification point. So what Nikki said was, yeah, so I'm kegling every time I do this. In Nikki's case, because her system is actually really well connected and well coordinated, she would be able to actually do that. Most people actually who have prolapse won't be able to do that. So actually trying to actively kegel during that part of it really isn't necessary. It's a really good sign in their progress when they get to the point that they feel like they actually can coordinate all that. But because they're going to be so tuned into connecting the pelvic floor when they're coming up and down, and the endurance part, the pelvic thrust is to literally focus on the pelvic thrust and to not feel like you're distracted thinking about the pelvic floor. It's to drop down and thrust up with as much acceleration as you can.
So people might feel it more in their butt than their pelvis floor.
Exactly. People might be more aware of the movement and the changing angle of their pelvis, let alone thinking about their deep core system.
Okay, right? That is a huge clarification.
So this is great exercise, and I often suggest, after you've done a couple reps of this, you can follow it up with legs up the wall or legs up the crib, whatever you kind of have available to you. and kind of do some other exercises that way. So if you kind of came into some bridge, you can even do it passively. This can be a nice opportunity to really just engage in your lateral costal breathing, which also is going to condition your pelvic floor tissues as well as your organs. So this kind of paired together is a great little extra tip for prolapse.
Thank you. That was glorious. You're amazing.
Okay, very good. Very good.